What's up, VC? What's up, vinyl community? How you doing? It's Dan hanging out with you for Dan's Vinyl Channel. This is a cool thing because I finally get to copy Norman Maslov or Mazzy's channel and do a whack-a-mole. So he's doing a 50th whack-a-mole contest. So basically what you got to do is you got to do your version of Mazzy's whack-a-mole. So you know, as you guys can see, I've got a little different perspective today for this video. So we're gonna do the whack-a-mole here, and we're gonna grab 5 records and we're gonna talk about them. And like Mazzy says, you don't have to know everything about it. So check Mazzy's contest link below. I'll link to the video. And I do want to talk about the band that we're listening to. This is a band from Austin, Texas. They're called the Able C. So you want to check them out on Bandcamp. I've been really digging on this album lately. A friend of mine did vocals on one of the tracks. So did the vocals on the song called Sugar Sand. So make sure you check that out. All right. So I just wanted to mention that. So I've been digging on that lately. It's really smooth, really cool kind of indie stuff going on. All right. So here we go. Whack-a-mole. We're gonna whack some moles. All right. So number one. What do we got here? I don't know because I'm not looking at them. All right. Number 2. I'm just gonna go section to section. We're just gonna grab some stuff. 3. We're gonna go to the wife's jazz section so I can embarrass myself and not know anything about anything that I'm talking about. All right, like that's not normal anyway. So number 4 here, we're going. Let me see what we got going on here, and then last, we're gonna dive into this strange section here. I have no idea what I'm pulling out. I'm just gonna grab something and we're gonna roll it. All right, so there we go. We got 5 records. They're sitting right here. Let's see what they are, huh? Number 1. All right, this is an album I just picked up. This is, I know they're from, I want to say they're from, are they from New Zealand? Or are they they may be from New Zealand or they're from Australia. They're called, it's either Me Sex or My Sex. And this is the album Computer Games, which, pretty cool record here. I saw this cover and I was just like, I gotta have this. And it's new wavy, post-punk, some synth pop on here too. The song Computer Games, I think it's about video games. They talk about the Matrix and all sorts of other stuff going on here. Not like the movie Matrix, but anyway, you just have to check it out. This is this was actually, and this is the only white label promo that I have from Epic. So this was a white label promo here from Epic Records. I picked that up. I didn't give much for it. I want to say it was like $7 or $8. So I thought, man, I got to give this a shot. So I went over to the turntable there in the store and I listened to it for a few minutes and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pick this up because it just seemed very interesting. So the band, it's either My Sex or Me Sex. I don't know how they would pronounce it, but it's called Computer Games. It's kind of a creepy cover and just like right up my alley, you know. So it's like something I had to grab. All right. This is kind of cool. All right, so the second album. This is Dokken, Breaking the Chains. All right, this is a cool. All right, so this is Dokken's first record. This is a cool addition because you see this, guys. You see this little mark? That's George Lynch's signature. So pretty cool. This is their first album, of course. Breaking the Chains on this, and this is a lot of fun. Guys, you know, Dokken, they were one of those bands that were like teetering on whether or not they were going to be like power metal or whether they were going to be like hair metal or just like pure rock metal, that kind of band. I always considered Dokken a metal band, more than a hard rock band. Let me turn this down. And George Lynch, of course, he's one of the greatest shredders of all time. So when I had an opportunity to procure this album, I took it. And so yeah, that's George Lynch's signature there. It kind of gets mixed up in this album artwork, but yeah. So Dokken, Breaking the Chains. It's a killer record. All right, this is one of my wife's records, and I just know that she's really into the jazz, and this is Duke Ellington and John Coltrane. So it doesn't get much better when you get into jazz than Duke Ellington and John Coltrane. John Coltrane, amazing amazing saxophonist, amazing jazz saxophone, just beautiful sounding. Like I believe Henry Rollins said once, he never blew a bad note. I've got to agree. Like most I've ever heard from John Coltrane has been absolutely stunning and amazing. Of course, you got like albums like Giant Steps. You have albums like A Love Supreme, Blue Train. I mean, you can't go wrong with John Coltrane. Duke Ellington, great stuff. One of his albums I am familiar with is Ellington's Indigos. This one, not so familiar with it, so I wish I could talk a little bit more about it. I know it's got Elvin Jones, Aaron Bell, Jimmy Garrison, and Sam Woodyard appear on this record, as well as Duke and Coltrane there. So yeah, cool record. I'm gonna have to give this one a spin. All right. There's that. All right, and as we keep moving along, we got another new wave record here. This is a great album. This is an album I see around quite a bit. It's the Motels and their self-titled album, and this is a great record, man. This is just a fun listen. There's no hits on this that I was aware of. I believe this is their first album. I'm not 100% sure, but man, just a lot of fun to listen to. Pure new wave, kind of, in that post-punk new wave kind of, I don't know, just some great stuff from the Motels. I really enjoy listening to them. So this is a lot of fun. As you can see, looks like a lot of fun. So it's a fun record. It really is. And check out this picture on the back. Just gotta love it. So yeah, the Motels and their self-titled album. Maybe their debut album, I don't know. Mazzy, you didn't say we had to know everything about it, right? All right, so number 4. Here we go, and wow. I don't even know how that happened, but guys, I'm telling you, you saw me. I was just grabbing records, okay? Looks like a record got put in the wrong section. This next one, okay, Genesis, and their self-titled album from 1983, or you could call it just Shapes. Was this 1983 or 1983. A lot of people call this Genesis Shapes. A lot of people just call it Genesis. A lot of people call it a sucky album. I don't. I love this album. This is one of my favorite by Genesis. This has an amazing song on it called Mama. You know, the and they famously ran like a for the intro of Mama, the drum beat was actually a drum machine that was run through a Mesa Boogie amplifier. So that's why it kind of has that mid-rangey kind of flat sound, and just an amazing song, Mama. That's All was also on this album. And let me see, Taking It All Too Hard was on this album. Illegal Alien, which is one of the... I'm in love with this album. There's not a bad track on it. Illegal Alien, which is a hilarious video as well. And this also one of my favorite Genesis songs of all time, Home by the Sea. And second, Home by the Sea, which nobody really understands why they have two songs, Home by the Sea and second Home by the Sea. Why not just make it one long thing? I guess they were looking at making it a single, possibly, which it's an excellent song. Home by the Sea, that's a fun song. It's a song about a guy who breaks into a house full of ghosts, and then, I don't want to spoil the song for you, so make sure you check it out. Genesis and their Shapes album, Home by the Sea. If you haven't heard that song, definitely check it out. And if this album, you can have this album for like $5-6. It's so worth it. It's worth every penny. I gave $1 for it in a thrift store. That was like 5 or 6 years ago. That was when I discovered that I really dug Genesis. Was and that's what's great about vinyl that I've picked up over the time that I've been collecting since just 2012, 2013. I've been collecting. And one of the things about vinyl, not only that you run out of space really quickly, but also one of the coolest things about vinyl is that you tend to try things that you never would have before. So Genesis, I played them when I worked as a disc jockey on the radio, and I always loved Phil Collins stuff, and I always loved Genesis, but I never really dug into them until vinyl, and that was kind of that was it. I mean, that was the thing. Guys, this seems like a cheat, but you saw me. All right, this was the first record I pulled out, and I don't know how a second Genesis album ended up in there, but it did. And I've just been showing a ton of Genesis in these last videos. This is their 1986 album, Invisible Touch. Now, this was also released along with another dude that you might know. Peter Gabriel had released the same year his So album. So we had Peter Gabriel and Genesis were fighting for the charts, which, if you guys know, Genesis' former singer was Peter Gabriel. And this album gets a lot of flack for some reason, and I think it's because the very first track on it is Invisible Touch. And I think that repetition breeds contempt in this case for a lot of people. She seems to have that invisible touch. And I think people stop listening to it after that. And if you do, you're missing out on a fantastic, proggy, just a great album. Invisible Touch, it has Tonight, Tonight, Tonight on it, which is just one of my, it's dark, atmospheric, it's great. Land of Confusion is on this album. Of course, you know, they were talking about a lot. The video for that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. There was a lot of like, there's like a lot of like these Reagan puppets and like puppets of like modern political figures, and I don't know, you'd have to watch the video. I can't really explain it. There were some really creepy puppets on it. Also, you get into like In Too Deep. Throwing It All Away is on this. The Brazilian is on this. Domino Part 1 and Part 2. I mean, it's just a fantastic record, a great sounding record that unfortunately had their biggest hit on it, I believe. And I think that kind of turned off a lot of people on ever wanting to listen to this album again. But trust me, if you've seen this record and you've turned it down because you're sick of Genesis' Invisible Touch, there's a ton of great stuff on this record. I think I bought this for like $5 or $6. So anyway, that's it. That's my whack-a-mole. That's my 5 records. Can you believe there was 2 Genesis in there? What was I guess I had put a Genesis record somewhere else on accident. Anyway, because I think I pulled from different sections. Anyway, so you guys take it easy. You guys keep digging them records. Mazzy, I hope this works out for you, man. And yeah, so congratulations on 50 whack-a-moles, man. And I'm so excited that I finally got to do one. I just thought it was a little strange that I ended up having 2 Genesis records on there. Anyway, you guys take it easy. Keep digging them records. Have a good start to your week, okay? Talk to you later. Bye-bye.